Thank you, Colton. Hey, everybody, welcome to the fourth quarter Kansas State Board of Nursing Practice Committee. We have a quorum, yes. I'm Michelle Terry, acting and on behalf of Stephen Peterson, who is ill today. I'll call this meeting to order. There is no on-site packet. Any additions or revisions to the agenda? Madam Chair or Madam Vice Chair, none that I'm aware of. Okay, thank you. All right, announcements. We have new committee members, so welcome to Kendra Meza.
Yep.
Meza, all right, and also to Belinda Katz. There you are. I saw you in there. Shake on my face. And then Stephen Peterson is also new. He is our chairperson, but he is out ill today. So welcome to you guys and thanks for all that you're going to do. Next, I'll have you look at the minutes from September 9th. Or and your packet. Great.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes from September 9th, 2025, Practice Council as written.
Melissa, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Patty. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
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 All- Anybody not? Anybody opposed? Anybody opposed? Why can't I think of that word? Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Motion passes. Next on our agenda is the consent item agenda, practice calls report and process. So Linda, I'll pass that over to you.
So on page 6 of your packet, you got the report. We had, a staff resign, and so one of the staff persons that helps do practice calls, took over some application reviews, so therefore our numbers are down as far as what all we could get to for this quarter. But we also started working on a frequently asked question draft. It's in progress. We plan to have a draft for the committee to review in March of 2026. It's something that we plan to be able to put on the website and then just keep it updated as we find new questions. And then hopefully people will start learning about that, to use that as a first stop before calling and sending in emails to everybody. It was mentioned, I think, last in September. Yeah, this is December. Okay. About maybe using something like a chat bot, and I'm going to pass it to Adrian. He's looked at something of that nature. So.
Okay, thank you, members of the committee. Colton, can you let in James Adams? I'll do a brief introduction. Okay, James is the interim director for what we call Kansas.gov. It's Tyler Technologies. And they did a demonstration for us. They've done a lot of work with us. They do our credit card processing, host our website, built the original online license renewal way back when. So they're doing a lot of work for us. And so we reached out to them and some of our other nursing regulatory colleagues, one of them being out of the state of Mississippi. And they were using the Tyler Technologies solution, which is basically think of it like a generative style chatbot. It's not being used in Kansas just yet, if I'm right, James. But we did a demonstration with them. It has some pretty neat capabilities, but funding would be one thing that we'll need to look at. We have a rather full plate of projects at hand. One of them is going to be migrating the licensing system, so that kind of needs to take priority. But some of these technologies are becoming part of the forefront. The things that we would need to be really careful with, though, and would probably need the assistance of Charles and some really deep thought as to whether or not we want to get into the realm of what's almost like a Chat GPT in nature looking site, and whether or not that would fit the needs that the committee's looking at. This was so fresh. We just did this, so last week? Yeah, last week. So we've, Colton's got a lot of questions. I've got some questions. Linda's got some questions, so it's still very fresh. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to give you a really well polished presentation, just because we were doing the busy work of trying to actually find different solutions that we thought would meet state requirements. So that's basically what we have to update. I don't know, James, is there anything you wanted to relay?
No, we're excited about potentially working with you all on yet another first of its kind solution for Kansas. Adrian always pushes the envelope, and we love to try to respond to anything we can do to help you all out. So we think we've got a pretty good solution for you all. Obviously, it would require a lot of tweaking, as Adrian said, with your expertise to make sure it serves your audience the way you want it to serve them. But it's pretty cool, and it's pretty fun to play with, like most new technology things. So I'm just here to listen and answer questions if you have them. Did you already do a demo, Adrian, or of some
This
sort?
time because we had a rather full agenda, we thought,
Gotcha.
Rather than give them something that's not real polished yet,
Sure,
we
sure.
might defer that maybe to the next meeting if we find out all the security and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to go steer one way and then find out,
For
maybe
sure.
we shouldn't that way. But and there's still a lot to think about. We're still looking at, other technologies, but that's just kind of where we're at. We want to give an update and let you see a face with the name.
If I can, real quick, I would say you're pressed for time. Just one of the things that we've found, because we obviously work with multiple government entities, from local municipalities all the way up to state government folks across all branches of government. We've built chatbots before, and that's certainly an option, but they are very manual, and it's the antithesis of what you're trying to solve. It would actually burden your staff even more, from my perspective. They require a lot of care and feeding. They're much like a garden. You have to pull out the bad questions and the weird answers, and replace it with new. And we found that to be pretty labor intense. Whereas with the advent of AI, that's obviously become a lot faster, a lot easier with hardly any staff time involved. And by directing it at directly the pure content that you want it to deliver, it's a pretty nice solution. So help alleviate a lot of calls and emails, hopefully.
And if you wanted to see like a real life demo of one that's actually, I guess, in the wild, so to speak, if you go out to the Mississippi Board of Nursing, just in the kind of bottom is a little bubble. You can click on it and just, you can ask it some sort of question to get an idea of what we were kind of exploring. I think the other one is, what was it, Indiana.gov?
Yeah, Indiana.gov, much broader implementation, seeing how it has to cater to so many different constituent bodies and stakeholders. But yeah, the Board of Nursing one in Mississippi would be probably more ideal, just because it's very targeted towards their content only. You can't search for the state bird of Mississippi using this AI assistant. It won't be in there. Whereas if you search for the state bird in Indiana's implementation, that probably would be in there. So it's nice to be able to lock it down to certain types of content that you might have.
The concerns that, other than like, obviously, bad stuff, people asking at bad things. There was one agency recently in the news that had some information bleed over to their website. And so they got a little bit of press, we don't want a whole lot of. Yeah, so, this is not something you dive headfirst into. It's really, you gotta think it through. But it is a neat technology. It's evolving. There'd be a lot of questions we'd need to ask though, before I said yes or no. Or obviously you guys say yes or no.
So would it be appropriate then to do a demonstration in March after you guys have time?
Yeah, potentially March might be a good time. I think James, we dropped it on pretty quick, so we can take a look and we'll know more of like funding and the security and all that kind of stuff, and whether or not we can even do it, you know? Obviously, Charles need to be involved as well.
And I can say I saw the demonstration when I went to NCSBN, was like a year ago, whenever I went. Wasn't bad, I think August, now I think about it. When I went, and it was very interesting, and the, person from the Board of Nursing who was giving the presentation, and what, it was very, purposeful, and it was very directed, like they said, not pulling just things in off the internet, it was very factual, proof driven, and all those types of things, so it was very interesting from that standpoint, that we wouldn't be giving out, information that was unintended, and it was very, guarded and secure in that respect, so it was very interesting in that perspective. So I could see how it could relieve time for the staff.
So does that mean that we have to have our website and then making sure that it's?
Yeah, that would be
on the website also?
some things we would need to look at. Yeah, obviously that would be part of it. There's probably gonna be some recommendations anyways, and some things that we want to change on the website, so that's kind of in there too. The other thing we could do, we could ask, one of them. There's two that I could think of at the Mississippi Board of Nursing, if you'd like them to join us and give their feedback. They'd probably be happy to do that, I'm sure, if they're open.
Have we ever thought about just putting in like a search, like, so CMS for their appendix PP, if I wanna go in there and search falls. I can just put in falls and it'll bring up every time in the appendix PP when falls is mentioned. And then you can just click through until you find what you're looking for.
Colton, would you, he's our
I
web
mean,
guy.
you
He
know,
could probably tell you a little bit about what he does.
Search Another regulation, say staffing or whatever I put in staffing, and it brings up every time staffing's member mentioned in there. Maybe for this, you could put in there like, if I wanted to search licensure, I could put in license and it brings up every time license is mentioned. I mean, you have to click through them, but it works pretty good.
Do you have anything to add to?
It sounds like you're describing the search function on the site as it is now.
I didn't know it was on there.
We do have keyword search at the top of the site, and you can search, and if those words show up on any of the pages, they'll show up in that search result.
Okay.
And that is just on our site. You can also Google search things, and Google will help you there too.
Colton's always looking to kind of refine it. He looks at some of the trends and works with like everybody in the office and tries to identify, to get people to the stuff as quickly as we can. In fact, it's be a good place to say it. We have an information page now. That's where we'll talk a little bit more tomorrow, but for the video, it's kind of like a, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like a bookmark page almost. And you can kind of follow along with some of the action plans that we're working on for the stuff that the House committee's identified. And then just some other helpful things that we thought maybe, you know, not to busy the page up too much, but quick links to things that we could point people in certain directions if we need to. Just as a way to make it faster.
I will add to the agenda for March, more discussion on this, possible demonstration, and it would be good to have somebody from one of the nursing boards to participate and give their opinion.
Try to get that.
And I have one more quick question before we move on. Linda, is there a reason that the most frequently asked questions have to come back to committee for approval? Is that something you can just implement on your own?
We can, if you wanted to see them or not, I don't, we can get them, we plan to try to get that draft done by March. With all the stuff going on, and then get it on the website appropriately and work with Coolman. But I mean, if you're gonna direct us to go ahead and do that, then we can update that and.
Madam Chair. I leave it to your purview, which is, I mean, I didn't understand the reason why it needs to come back and delay it more. I think
Yeah.
if it's something that, I mean, you deal with the calls anyways, so.
Yeah.
I don't know that we talk about the calls in general, so.
Or do we have to have approval for something to be on the website or anything like that?
Not that I know of. That might be a Charles question.
Charles?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Charles.
You're on
mute,
Charles.
It helps when you unmute it. Yes, we generally want to just look at what's going up on the website quickly before it's up there, just in case, just to make sure we're not giving legal advice or other things like that.
It doesn't make a difference if they're already answering these phone calls and answering them in general,
It
because we
depends.
don't discuss phone calls before they get them. I'm assuming this would already be a set script of you're just pulling it together and putting it on the website. Is that not appropriate?
It can be, it's just as long as we know what the script is.
You want me to work with Charles and to just.
Is that okay with you, Madam Chair?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay.
If you'd like to, I mean, yeah, I would think you need to make a motion.
You have to do the consent.
Yeah,
motion and-
yeah, we're actually two
Yeah,
motions
two
behind,
motions.
that's my fault. Yeah, we'll do the consent agenda item first. The FAQ draft was actually put on the March agenda.
Oh, well, I was, yeah, but this is what you're talking about.
Oh, got it, yeah, got it. So my apologies, thank you, Patty, for letting me know. The first motion we need to make is the agenda.
Yes. I move to approve the agenda as amended. I second. If we didn't make.
We didn't amend it.
Amended it.
So just
Sorry,
approve the
as the
agenda.
agenda. Approved by Steve.
Yeah.
Stephen already approved that.
Okay.
So there's a motion.
We didn't need a motion for that.
It was already approved by Stephen. Oh, okay. It was already happened, and we didn't amend it. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I was, wow, Michelle. All right. I'm just listening. So then the next official one we need to do is the practice calls report for the consent agenda item. So do I have a motion? for
So
that?
then I can say, I move the consent item agenda, which includes the practice call reports. And direct the staff to work with Charles on getting that up on the website. ASAP, it doesn't necessarily have to come back through this committee.
Yeah.
That sound okay with everybody?
Yeah. So we have a motion by Melissa. Thank you. Can you just second? It's Melanie. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Right after, it's right after.
Yeah. Any opposed? No. Yeah. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Sure. Michelle.
Just a quick, can I go ahead and let James, he's got
Oh,
another
yeah.
meeting.
Yes. So
Okay,
sorry.
so still plan on, and I'll give him the time. Okay, James, I know you have to hop, so thank you for
Look.
joining us.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Hope we can help you all. Thank you.
So now we move to unfinished business. All right. Legislative review plans and sample form introduction. So Linda, I'll pass that over to you. I believe that's on page seven.
Of your packet is the general information as to the process. Page 8 lists the statutes that are assigned to the practice committee. We have 14 statutes and rights that are requiring review in 2026. I haven't counted the total. I think we have like 27 before, yeah, so how do you want to do the 14 statutes and rights? We have to have them all done by December 2026. Some committees are deciding to pull the first portion and put them on for review and then get them. If we did 4 a quarter, that would only be 2 up for December. 4 quarters, 12, okay, yeah. Okay, so you want to start with 4 in March?
The way you did it last year was amazing.
Okay. I don't remember how I did that.
So you provided, just as a reminder in our packets, the one that we were in to us, you asked for comments.
Earlier, and then we just did them, and then you guys had them to go, okay?
Because the form is a little different.
It is a little different. Andy, do you want to comment on how the process has changed a bit from the last time?
It hasn't changed very much, and other than we're doing both statutes and regulations. And so there's some of the sections that will seem like this is just for a regulation, so if it's a statute, you don't have to worry about it. But there are 4 questions that have asterisks that I would just encourage you as committee members. Those are the 4 that you need to look at first. And hopefully, with Linda's help, I'll be able to give you kind of a starting place for your review. It'll be pretty easy. I do want to thank the committee for this work. We're becoming more and more aware that this is strategically important for our preparations for each legislative session. So it's not, if there's other statutes that you would rather be looking at this year, you can always change those. These are just the ones that were suggested for this year.
Those are on page 8.
Yeah. So I'll just start with the top and just pull the first four. Okay. Nice, I'll do that. So be looking in your emails for that to come.
When you say you'll pull the top 4, you'll do
So
2026. Yeah.
Yeah, we will stick with those dates.
All right, and then more unfinished business, moving to certified professional midwife. I know we've been talking about this a while, so thank you, everybody, for your continued input and thoughtful insights around this. It's not been an easy discussion, and we've been talking about it officially since last March. The practice committee brought this to, or the full board brought this to us in the December 2025 meeting. 24, it was 2024. And so we picked this up in March to talk about it first. Then we had a presenter in June. Then we had discussion in September. And it feels like it's been a long time. It's been a year, but we also know we have to be really thoughtful with it. So Linda, I have you in red here. That means insights.
Okay, I think that summarized it. I mean, I just kind of summarized what the discussion was from the previous committees, because we have 3 new committee members. I just wanted to make sure that they were caught up to speed with the rest of us. I think in September too, Charles reviewed the law surrounding what she had indicated in her presentation as state versus or whatever. Okay. And then I think Melissa, you had a comment about my recap too, and maybe I missed a piece, so.
Okay, and then that we were looking for a legal statement as to further how the board, or how this is going to be handled by the board from our legal counsel, Charles.
The biggest question is it
It's our purview or not?
yes, is it our place or not? And that's the ultimate question. And Charles, we look to you for your insights on that.
Well, hello, this is Charles. It's a sticky question. When they came and spoke to the board, they mentioned the Rebke case, but that's from 1996. And our statutes that we have are after that. And we had some regulations from 2011, 2022. Those are after the Rebke case. So I think what we came up with so far is CPMs can perform services in Kansas as long as they do not perform the functions reserved for certified nurse midwives. So I don't know how much that would be, probably not very much. And I think we also discussed in the last meeting, if they plan to prescribe drugs or administer drugs, they should have a collaborative agreement with someone licensed to practice medicine. I think when you look at the Rebke case and a couple of other cases, coupled with our newer statutes and regulations, that's kind of what it amounts to when you put all that together and analyze it. That's kind of the bottom line. So I think if more certainty is needed about what these people can do and if they can operate in Kansas, we probably need more statutory guidance or regulatory guidance. So you might want to recommend maybe the legislature or some revisions to our our
interrupt you
regulations.
just on that point, we're not looking for what they can and can't do in the state of Kansas. What I believe we're asked to be, and you can stop me, Madam Chair, if you want, or if you need to, is that what we, as the board, we need that legal statement.
Yeah, do we, and even do we need to have a statement?
Or do we even need to have a statement as to some direction, because CPMs are, I don't want to say, they are brought to our attention as the Kansas State Board, and there's no, from what I understand, they're not licensed through the
Mhm.
Kansas State.
They govern themselves.
They govern themselves, so maybe even just a statement, whatever, all of those
Yeah.
cases that you
So-
reviewed.
I guess the deeper question, because we have these statutes that came after that Supreme Court case, is can they exist in Kansas? And that's the deeper question that we're still researching. Or should they be forced to get the license that midwives have?
So with that thought though, is that up to us?
Technically, the board regulates licensees that are licensed under them. So first we have to answer, are they really just certified nurse midwives that are practicing without a license, or are they another thing? That's the first thing to answer. And since they're not licensed, we don't have authority over them. So that's why we have to answer the deeper questions: are they allowed to be here at all? Because then that answers the question, well, are they unlicensed certified nurse midwives or not?
A completely different designation, from my understanding, right?
Or
Certified
yeah,
professional midwife versus CNMs, which is
yeah.
completely different.
So-
So like, I don't even know who is asking the question anymore, because it's been so long around.
I think they are themselves.
They are themselves, yeah.
They're allowed to, people are questioning whether or not they can do what certified nurse midwives do.
So we had that association that first came in.
She came in because we asked her to learn
Because
more about.
we didn't
because we didn't
understand.
know.
Right.
And the CPMs are being, sorry, I'll interrupt, the CPMs are being, trying to put, brought to our attention from an investigative standpoint. And they do not carry licensure through the Kansas State Board of Nursing. So ultimately, we were looking, the investigative committee was turned to us as the practice committee to come up with a statement, legal statement. And obviously, I feel like it needs to be a legal statement based on all of these court cases that where the Kansas State Board of Nursing is in all of this, ultimately for CPMs. Because then when something happens, or if something should happen or brought to our attention again, then we can have something to send those people who are bringing that to our attention, filing complaints, etc.
So were the CPMs doing medications? Was that the ones that were doing the medications out there? We didn't know where they were getting them.
Relationships with physicians.
Somebody needs to be overseeing.
So that, and
I
then
know,
my
they're
issue
still
is
not
too, is so
licensed.
their reporting body only takes complaints directly from the patient.
Within a time period, as it was.
Yes, yes, so the
The
original,
original, as being unlicensed here, and we wouldn't have jurisdiction, we tried to present the complaint that was sent to us, like what we do with any complaint that involves, if it involves a physician, we'll send the complaint also to VOHA to look at that versus us look at the nurse, but it's the same type thing. The regulating body was NARM, I think it was, but they kicked it back to us and said, you can't, you can't report this nurse, this CPM. And it was like, okay, well then that's brought up the question as to who do you report it to? Can you or should you? And how do you protect the public? So I think that's what it was.
Are any of the CPMs nurses? Do they hold nursing license besides
I
being a
think
CPM?
that there have been some nurse midwives who have dropped their nurse midwife and become a CPM because they don't have to carry the medical malpractice insurance. It's it's a very slippery slope. Medical malpractice insurance carriers are required to report. So, you know, you get the reporting aspect at that level if whatever, but with CPMs not having to be carrying any medical malpractice and they're always supposed to stay in a certain scope. And no oversight. So like, yeah, that's about all I've been able to deduce.
Still comes down to, do we have jurisdiction in space? Right,
Not licensed.
not licensed, so we don't oversee them at all, but I know we have the public safety.
As I say, but we still need the legal statement. So when we do get this, we can say. You don't have jurisdiction, this is why, blah, 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 yeah.
And please go to NARM and we can
Yeah,
provide that
well, that's-
information, email,
yeah.
telephone numbers,
Right,
anything along
yeah,
those
right.
lines. So then, right, I know that takes onus off of us, like you would normally go to the Board of Healing Arts, but they say you can't, so that's fine. So then we just redirect back to the complainant or the person who has questions.
I like that, refer them to their reporting body. This
Yes.
is not their reporting body, their
Right.
reporting body is. So Charles, is that something that we could? Is that a legal statement that we could make as a board?
It's not really a legal statement, but I think it's permissible for you to direct them to their own reporting body. Until the courts come down with a more definitive answer or the legislature creates a more definitive answer, it just remains a gray area for us.
So could you still provide us with a summary statement prior to redirecting them back to NARM? That we can include?
I can certainly try. It's such a gray area. I'll see what I can come up with and I'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect. And then when would everybody like to,
Yeah.
can we do an email vote on that and give you 30 days to bring that back to us?
Okay.
Is that permissible, Carol? Am I going, Madam Chair?
Question for him.
Oh, for him, okay.
Yeah, I would like that, like the summary statement. Directing them, like. We're not, they're not under our licensure, so then directing them to contact NARM.
NARM, and then
Because that's that's where I was getting caught up, like, I don't wanna leave these people hanging. But it has to be patient initiated, but so if it's a provider that brings that up, they can go back to their own patient. And say, this is where you need to go, right?
yes,
Okay.
I think, and then 30 days and we can do an email vote. And then that
Just to
way
get it active.
active and up and running since it's been going on a little bit.
Yes.
If everybody's okay with that, Madam Chair.
Do we need a motion? Yeah. Your. Thank you for the discussion on this. I know it's a weighted topic. And I know nurse midwives are needed in several pockets of the state.
Confusing conditions.
Okay, I move to approve Charles Mears to draft a legal summary statement in the next 30 days and return to the committee for an email practice committee. For an email vote surrounding the direction for CPM. Are these complaints? Are they, what are they? You know, how they come in to you?
It's come in, you get a complaint,
CPM,
but I don't know if you wanna limit it to just complaints, or do you wanna just?
CPM questions,
I would say practical questions
Yeah.
in general,
practice questions or just questions in general?
in general.
Question.
Because we need to standardize this so it's across the board direction is consistent.
We don't know. Items.
For direction for CPM questions and a standard direction to their oversight body. I don't know what that, if it's, I don't know what that body it is. I don't know what NARM's considered.
Is it appearance advisory association?
It's a national
Registered midwives or? I had it on. I just remember names.
Their oversight.
I thought it was in this little breakdown. North American Registry of Midwives, that's NARM.
Yes.
So I think we just,
So oversight body and then just put NARM in there.
NARM,
Okay, all right.
I'm sure we have an email and a phone number and all of that.
I move to approve Charles Mears to draft a legal summary statement in the next 30 days and return to the practice committee for email vote surrounding the direction for CPM questions and the standard direction to their oversight body, NARM.
Thank you, Patty. We have a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Melissa. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. The motion passes. Thank you for the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles, for your
Mhm.
input too. Moving on to the next to new business, we have the topic of X-ray and APRN. Update from KDHE.
Yeah, there was an update from KDHE. They have been meeting with BOHA. The Board of Healing Arts, who believes operating a fluoroscopy machine is considered a practice of medical surgery under their statute 65-2869B. APRNs can order the X-rays, but only under the supervision of or with a cooperative agreement with a person licensed to practice medicine or surgery as stated in their regulation 28-35-242C. Hospitals also have licensing regulations requirements for radiology departments. So that's what KDHE is saying. I think there's a discrepancy as far as with the APRN's full practice authority and how that language,
Is it operating or ordering?
they said, well, operating. I believe it's operating a fluoroscopy machine. They can order X-ray, APRNs can order X-rays, but only under the supervision of or with a corporate agreement.
Would this be a good topic for our APRN committee?
Yeah,
I think it's up to them.
I think so.
Feel like you. Do we need a motion for that, or do you? Just do it.
I can motion.
Motion for that.
I use mine. Use
All
mine.
right, I got my empty sheet. Hang on, let me go to that. So is this I just want to clarify, is this a question from KDHE or BOHA or both?
It was a question that came in on a practice call from an APRN who was questioning why she could not order and do X-rays. with her full practice authority, and this was the response she got from KDHE because of their language regarding x-rays.
Oh, good.
And I talked to a nurse practitioner here who has her own standalone clinic. And she was curious if this was related to in-hospital use or those that function on their own.
I gotta say promptly that it was like she's functioning on her own, but I don't know for sure. Cause I would think in hospital use, she probably would fall under a hierarchy of
Right,
medical
right.
person.
This says order x-rays.
APRN can order x-rays, but only under the supervision.
Mhm.
So even ordering this.
Even
under
supervision, yeah.
Okay, so that's a.
Seems restrictive.
Yeah, restricted.
Plus, this entity is requesting a letter from KSBN stating that APRNs in Kansas are able to order x-rays without a collaborative practice and agreement in place.
Okay, Madam Chair, that the X-ray and APRN ordering be moved to the APRN committee to review and make recommendations.
Thanks, Melissa. Is there a second?
I said them.
It's Patty. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? No. Extension? Thank you very much. Next order of new business, the business operation and nurses, i.e. ketamine. Business operations, and I have the discussion, Charles, Melissa.
The Charles Melissa and Patty should have been.
It is our show today. It is. Would you like to start, Adam?
I would. So I've done research on this. Because it's been a question in the hospital I used to work in as well, because we had heard about this. So APRNs can prescribe ketamine under the supervision of someone who's sponsoring and is a physician that's going to be in that team. However, it came to our attention that nurse practitioners on the outside were prescribing it in order for relief from mental health issues. And then the patients would suffer under that because they weren't completely explained, you know, hey, for the first 15 minutes, you may hallucinate. Hey, for the next half hour, your breathing's gonna go, and we were getting them into the hospital as respiratory emergencies. Where, you know, without knowing that why they were in a respiratory emergency, they were being treated to things that affected the way the ketamine was supposed to work anyway, so. I think the general concern that we all had when we had our big meetings about it as department chairs and directors was. We don't know what's going on out there, and APRNs that just have, it's kind of like the people that can give. You know, whatever LPNs that want to open up the corner stand with aesthetics and stuff, we don't know what they're getting, and they show up under an emergency thing where they can't tell us what they did. And so we're being not only ineffective, but we're also sometimes reversing and making things worse because we don't know that. And there's nothing to keep, you know, this is why they have to work under a physician, and it's, I mean, you know, and the big thing is there is a statute out there already about it. It's a 2024 statute, and under Kansas legislative system that it goes into all of this stuff, and it actually has all of the provisions for ketamine use in here. I really did like read everything I wrote on this. Prior to this, but went back and got all my notes. It goes over ketamine, it goes over fentanyl related things, so there is a statute out there that we can kind of already press off of. And it.
Do you have that?
I do, it's Article 57, crimes involving controlled substances. I don't have my glasses out, wait, I can make it bigger. 21-5701. Starts as the definitions where it goes into all of the statutes, regulations, and the descriptions of what they consider. And then it keeps going from there, from the definitions.
I'm just talking out loud here. So is what we're looking at, obviously, our mission is to protect the public. That's
Yes.
where we're starting, right?
Right.
So are we looking at help from Charles to draft some language around this, or adherence to the statute?
Probably a little of both. The concern is that there's already a statute out there. It happened in 2024. So, I mean, do we not have we should always start there, working off what the rules are right now? Because the ask is that APRNs are allowed to do the ketamine without being under the team doctor or having a doctor supervision. And it has been addressed already, starting in KSA 21-5701. And it goes all the way through 5717.
I will say, when we get like questions like this, I only look at the nurse practice statutes and regs. We don't go outside of that, so this statute is not in the Nurse Practice Act itself, so I don't know how to make that reference. That might be Charles to figure out how to.
This is Charles. KSA 21-5701 is that's the criminal code, and this is just a statute that lists the definitions for different drug terms.
Okay.
So it might be a good place to start to see how it's defined. I imagine ketamine's a controlled substance, so
It's a class 3.
it would be controlled by the APRN statute and what statutes, other statutes, and where they're allowed to prescribe. Also the federal DEA. So
Already APRN or? Okay.
we can definitely look into it.
You got one?
Yeah, she found one.
But would you say that's appropriate?
I think that's appropriate.
I think it
Can we have
Here,
Charles,
you need another one.
can we have Charles start in this committee, hunting down those statutes, so then there's something for us to work with in the
Yeah,
APRN,
sure, yeah.
or look at, or kind of go forward with it.
So you want.
Start with the statutes.
Yeah, we'll start
The
with,
draft
yeah.
of the conversation to start here and then
Then
kick it over.
pick it over, but then that's something for us.
Then
to
we can move it
review.
up, we've
Yeah.
seen it.
That'll save, like, honestly, that'll save probably 2 quarters of meetings, right? We have something to give you guys.
To work on, yeah, or I was thinking we could start it here and we can conversate about, and then APRN in March if they feel that they have enough information.
Yeah.
Does that sound all right?
It does.
Like, it doesn't need to come back here again and then go there, does it? Is that what you're saying?
It does.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
And just to clarify, you're asking me to look into the APRN statutes and what authority they have regarding prescribing ketamine.
Right, and then the further part of that, Charles, is that they want to know who's responsible for the medical care.
Okay.
If it's the, the referring physicians or the actual CRNA or the APRN.
Okay, I understand.
And I'm gonna put, KSA 20. I'll read it and you tell me what I need to change. Let me do that.
And IV hydration.
That's, yeah, spas.
And you're talking ownership or complications or just in general?
It just says who's responsible for their medical care, because they do have to be under medical care for a time period after it's given. They have to come back out of that respiratory depression before they're not in care anymore.
Okay, so this is what I have. Let me know if it's what everybody's thinking. I'd move that Charles Mashers start to look into KSA 21-5701 and further, if needed, to clarify ketamine as well as responsibility and ownership of medical care associated with ketamine.
Every ketamine administration.
Well, even with the administration of ketamine and having a surgical background, I mean, that patient is gonna need a level of one-on-one
Right.
care and very intensive prescriptive amount of like vital sign taking and monitoring that needs to happen. And it makes me extremely concerned hearing that we're doing this in clinics and then they're getting into a respiratory depression and it,
Going to the hospital.
yeah. So, absolutely. It worth exploring.
And then, would you like the rest to say then to be transferred to the APR and then to discuss further?
It's because your meeting was short today.
What else can we give her? And you bragged about it. Let's go there.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, it's 7 minutes left.
To further discuss to further.
Are we gonna just vote us?
Yeah, with Botox and IV hydration.
Second.
Okay, so then the second part of that is then to transfer to APR committee to further discuss and make recommendations.
Yeah.
And we'll say by March of 2026. And they can at least start the discussion.
Smells that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oppose, no. Three topics left. Actually, I'll pop it over to Carol real quick for the IV therapy task force.
There's not much to tell you about that because I've kind of had a few other things going on. So I haven't followed up on that, but I will try to get some stuff done by March.
No problem. Next item then, or the last item here for new business, delegation of task in school setting, mechanical ventilation. We talked about that last time. We had the nurse present to us and talked about changes that needed to be in the delegation of task chart. Any further questions or discussion about that? I know, Brian, you were very involved with that last time, so I want to make sure that we don't forget you're there. You have.
No, I think it looks good. We had just talked a little bit about with my having a surgical background, some of the reinsertions and stuff like that. Kind of hairy, I think, in a school setting. So
And the recommendation you talked about was to send requests to KSNO to update their delegation chart. They would also need to include the G2, J2 discussion. From the review of the KSNO School Nurse Medication Administration Guide in June 2025. So we're good with that one, right?
Right, all right. And not that I'm looking for more work, but Botox, did we talk about that?
It'll be March.
Oh, that's eventually, yeah,
March.
okay.
So about months back up, we had meetings.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
That would be a good, like, that'll be a good.
Okay.
I'll give it the, we'll give it the quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. So our agenda for March, the FAQ draft, that's off, right? It's off. Legislative review of statute regulation, we're gonna do the first four. We're going to talk about the generative AI tools with possible demonstration and the nursing board to talk to us. Also adding the med spa, Botox, IV hydration discussion
And business ownership.
of the business ownership for that.
Business operations.
Business op. Is there anything else?
Just one question. Do you know about how much time they would have so they can tailor the?
So if we just have. Like, we got rid of two really big things.
Really
today.
big things, yeah.
So our only, like, we'll have the legislative reviews and Botox and IV hydration. So those are the only two, but
So like 20-minute answers.
yeah, I would have a half hour.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't need that much, but.
all of you, I can't.
Thank you. And is there anything else? And next time Steve gets to do the show. Thank you. That concludes the episode meeting today. 2 minutes to say, really,